Let us not give up. Let us not mourn, because we know there's a time for everything. And whether we are mourning or we are celebrating, God makes every time things that are happening and all these seasons beautiful. And at times when you're going through hardship, it's hard to think about it being beautiful. But you know what? Let's keep the faith. Welcome to Karaoke Moments. This is a channel where we discuss about life conversations and we look at life is a journey. That is our tagline, because we believe in this life, it is a journey. You walk in it. And around this time, I've been thinking about seasons. Seasons in all the areas of our lives. And actually, maybe it is more evident in this moment, whereby we are in the season of winter, where I live in the UK, and winter is a different type of a season out of the four which are very prevalent in these areas and these areas of UK. Maybe where you come from, there could be different seasons, but just look at seasons. And other than the geographical weather seasons, we have seasons in life, and that is what we'll be looking at around this time. I am going to drop a link of the previous video where we discussed about seasons. And welcome into Karaoke channel. If you're visiting here for the first time, subscribe and share the videos, like them, make your comments, and continue making us be known out there, because that is how we'll be able, even YouTube, to put us in the limelight, so that when people are searching for videos, we can be grouped into areas where we can be found easily. If you've subscribed there before, welcome back home, and thank you for taking a moment to come back. So today in our video, we are going to think about there is a time for everything, or rather there's a season for everything in our lives. And today, this is the matter of faith, because in Karaoke Moments, we discuss life conversations about faith, about motivation, about resilience, about traveling, anything that is involved in life, because as I said, life is a journey. And today, since it's matters of faith, I am going to be reading from the Bible. I subscribe as a Christian. I am not ignorant. I know not everyone is a Christian. Everyone is welcome to share with us as we read through the Bible. Do you have a Bible, by the way? If you have a Bible, feel free, by the way. Let's open our Bibles. We read together, because I believe in the Word of God. For those ones who are Christians, we get an inspiration and a revelation differently. So you might be revealed unto you in a different way, be ministered unto you in a different way. Feel free to comment in our comments, so that we can be able also to hear, as we were reading, what was inspired of you. By the way, even to non-Christians, read with us. It's good also to hear something that other people believe in. And as we said, we are here to walk in this journey, not leaving anyone behind. And today we are going to be reading from the book of Ecclesiastes. By the way, that word is a full mouth. I remember when I was a child, this is one of the books in the Bible that gave me trouble, Ecclesiastes. And I know even now, some of us will still find trouble. Don't worry. This is in the book of Ecclesiastes. It is in the Old Testament. And we are going to be looking at chapter 3 of this Ecclesiastes. And you are going to read from verse 1 and tag along with me, whereby the writer of this book is trying to encourage us that there are different times and seasons in our lives. And we should embrace each season, each time, because we know it will come and go. And we know it is just a time, it's just a season. And as I'm saying, around this time, you know how in life you have various inspirations and things that are going around your mind. That is what I'm going through around this time. I've been ministered by the seasons. Like I've said, we are in winter. And winter here, it's just a cold season. You feel like there's no life. You feel like it's so cold. We move in jackets. We have to put on very heavy clothes. We heat up our houses, which increases our bills. Yeah, those ones who live in winter, in winter how we pay electricity quite high because we have to keep our houses warmer. But you know what? After this, there'll come another season whereby there'll be more life. We'll have more flowers coming up. So today, when we look at the time being, the writer has said a time for everything, according to the version of the Bible I'm reading, which is NIV. And in chapter 3 of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 1, that's where we're going to start. And it says, there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven. As I said, it's very encouraging to know it's not every time we will have one season. There'll come a season in and out. In verse 2 of the same Ecclesiastes 3, verse 2, yeah, it says, a time to be born and a time to die. It's true. There are times when a woman will be pregnant, a woman will go to delivery room, and a woman will come out with a baby. Unfortunately, woe unto us. As long as you have a life, life will come to end. Everyone, even a tree, even a human being, you'll be born. And I remember at times, as I had shared in a previous video, that I'm a midwife. I remember in labor ward, when women are going through labor into delivery, one of the famous words, is it famous? Should I say famous? But common, yeah, common is better word. Common words that come is mostly words like, I want to die. I want to die. I want to die. Or you hear a woman because of the pain. People who have gone through labor, I know they have a story. People have a story. They also say, I'll never repeat it again. When will this end? Because at times during that moment of labor pains, before delivery of their beautiful baby, be it a son, be it a daughter, women feel like it will never end. But imagine it comes and goes. And even you'll find after that woman, in a year or two, they are pregnant again. So it is just a season of pain. It comes when that baby will be born. Unfortunately, let's finish with the being born. There'll be celebration. There'll be a lot of happiness. There'll be a lot of joy. Naming of that child. It will go on and on with celebrations as they are being taken to school. Alternatively, or vice versa, when that child dies, be it in old age or wherever. Now, because we are saying that there's a time to be born and a time to die. When death occurs, it is full now of not laughter but of mourning. There'll be sadness. There'll be death. This is how I'm looking at it from that verse. That there are times when in our lives we'll be celebrating. Yeah? We will be happy. We will be joyous. We'll be calling friends, and when they visit in our houses, we are housewarming. Like some of our cultures, maybe it depends with where we come from. Some of us having a baby and going to visit someone with a baby is a big deal. We will go with gifts. We will be dancing with our baby. We will be holding the baby. By the way, share with us. How do you people celebrate when a child is born in your culture, And remember, subscribe. Have you subscribed in Karaoke Moments? Subscribe. Continue to share, like our videos. Let them be known to your friends, to your circles, to your families, so that also we can be able to be known out there by YouTube and be able to share into other people as we continue encouraging ourselves and learning from cultures, from traveling, from faith, from inspirations, from motivation, so that we can be able to all be made easier in this life, being life is a journey, and in life conversations. So let's continue. Comment how you celebrate when a baby is born. And unfortunately, vice versa, when death occurs, it is the opposite. Other than the laughter and the loud voice of laughing, it will be now the opposite. It will be mourning. It will be dullness. It will be only memories can be held at that time. It will be preparing for exit, burial, funeral arrangement planning, depending on which cultures people come from, some even longer. There could be even maybe a contribution of money. This time, not to buy gifts as for the baby who was born, but maybe to plan for maybe clearing hospital bills or bills towards the funeral arrangements. What are we saying? In this life, which life is a journey, there are various seasons. A time to be born and a time to die when someone exists. In the same Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 2, it continues to say, there is a time to plant and a time to uproot. This is true. Maybe it is more common to people who are from a farming locality or background. In the planting season, some of us may be really planted, but the memories that I have in my head during planting seasons, we used to have a lot of workers in our farm, not a very big farm. But I remember in that season, it used to be a very busy period. We will have very many farm workers coming to help us to plant. And my parents and the workers being very busy because it's a time to plant. But there's also a time to uproot. And this uprooting may be just the weeding. It doesn't have to be the plants themselves. It might only be weeding itself. But also there's a time to harvest, whereby whatever you planted is what you will harvest. By the way, if you plant maize, you're expecting to harvest maize. As you're uprooting and maybe harvesting, you're expecting the same. So in this life, what you plant is what you will come to reap. What you sow is what you will come to reap. That is what I'm just feeling when I'm reading this. That if you plant goodness, if you plant something is good in that season, you will come to reap what is good. Because there's a time to plant and prepare. You're going to gain what is good. It's true. If you plant happiness in your relationships, you're going to be expecting to have the best. If you plant what is evil, you might not have the very best. Let's continue. There's a time to kill and a time to heal. That is in verse 3. There's a time to tear down and a time to build. It's true. There is a time to tear down. There's a time when it comes, even maybe you just want to change a building, whereby a building is maybe old and you want to build a new one. What happens when you have to prepare for that? Because there's a season for everything. Maybe you want to build a new building, maybe a house. It will be maybe you're upgrading your house. You're upgrading maybe even just a chair. You want to take that out and bring a new one. There must be something has to come down for you to bring up a new one. When it comes to, there's a time to tear down and a time to build. There's a time to weep and a time to laugh. And this is true. There'll always come a season whereby even in a family, there's a lot of laughter. Maybe good things are happening. As we said, maybe a child has been born. There's a marks, maybe one of the children in the family has passed their marks, they have done very well. And there'll come a time when maybe things are not happening very well. Maybe people have, one of the family members is unwell. That is one of the times when maybe people will be very sad. One of their family members is unwell. And it's a season. And that is a season when people should hold together. What tonight we are discussing, today in the afternoon, today in the morning, from whatever time you are watching from, is brave the occasion for the season. Because a season will come and a season will go. A time will come and a time will go. As we continue to look at it, let's look at the other seasons. In Ecclesiastes chapter 3, the same, in verse 5, we are continuing to see there's a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them together. There's a time to embrace and a time to refrain. What are we thinking? There are times when you want to embrace friends and people who are good to you. And there are times when even as you try to embrace those people, it's not working. They are hurting you more and more. So you refrain. To refrain is not to hate. Don't get me wrong. It is to create a safe ground for yourself. And good ground from my understanding of the other person. Because if you're embracing them and keeping on going close to them, and the relationship maybe is just hurting each other, or maybe it's just defrauding each other, or just conning each other, in my thinking, there's a time to refrain from that. So there's a time to gather and a time to refrain. There's a time to search and a time to give up. There's a time to keep and a time to throw away, as we have seen in that scenario. A time whereby you're like, okay, let me clear up my mess. I need to clear up my mess, and I need to ask myself, what can I do with this time that I have in hand? Or maybe even from another lighter moment. If there's a time that you want maybe to clear the garbage in your house, at times there's a time when we have this, you don't know even how to, when you buy a new shoe, to throw away the other. You can throw it and you can give it away. You can throw it by maybe just extending to someone else who don't have, like shoes. How many shoes can you put on in every other time when you want to put on shoe? Only one pair. So there comes a time when, other than keeping all that, you can have them and give them away. There's a time also in verse 8. There's a time to love and a time to hate. There's a time for war and a time for peace. It's just one moment when there is everything good happening, and the other time when maybe not everything good, and we should have a lesson. And what I like most is when we are told in verse 9, what does the worker gain from the toil? I have seen the burden God has laid on them. This was just to show from the teacher, from the person writing this book of Ecclesiastes, is just to tell us that all these things, it is only God who has laid them in men. And the best part is verse 11 of that Ecclesiastes 3. He has made everything beautiful in his time. He has also set eternity in the hearts of men, yet they cannot fathom what God has done from beginning to end. What today, when we're discussing about a time for everything, is speaking to me. Everything that God has made and that he makes us pass through in his eyes, in his wisdom, everything is beautiful. Let us not give up. Let us not mourn, because we know there's a time for everything. And whether we are mourning or we are not, we are celebrating. Whether we are planting or we are weeding out, or we are harvesting, whether we are celebrating about a child being born or death, God makes every time things that are happening and all these seasons beautiful. And at times when you're going through hardship, it's hard to think about it being beautiful. But you know what? Let's keep the faith. There's a time for everything and a season for everything. But my take home is to know that in verse 11 of Ecclesiastes 3, he has made everything beautiful in its time. Thank you very much. Continue to just give your comments. Let us know what these verses are speaking unto you. Do you believe there is a season for everything, a time for everything? Again, we say, welcome home. Continue watching us if you are new. If you've been here, continue subscribing, share the videos with people as we look out for the next video, which is coming soon. Thank you very much, and bye for now.